And look how far down the chain people were doing their part till somebody stepped in it. Or
love the sound effects.
Help me with hip-hop. Let's get it right. Protect your patience. Day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with hip-hop. Let's get it right.
So, Donna, I have to say, one of the things that terrifies me is breach by association. You got all these tools that are integrated, they're talking to each other, and then one of them has a security issue, which is the reason why we always talk about vetting your vendors and vetting the technology and all this kind of stuff.
Okay, well, that's good, because I thought you were going to say that your breach by association was you were worried about me. Which I get
There's
that.
a lot of things. There's a lot of things that I am risking myself by associating with you. The only upside is I think I bring equal amount of risk to you. So
That's fair. That's fair.
It's the, friends close, enemies closer kind of thing.
Yeah, it is true. So, but yeah, it is. We talk about it all the time, the supply chain stuff. And, the further down the path we go with AI and all interoperability, I mean, that's a term over and over and over in healthcare. The interoperability is the thing that we're supposed to be excited and that's our end objective, is that everything can talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I saw a recent post in LinkedIn, and they were talking about that. They're like, when are we going to have the ability to just, pull our records from everywhere, and the doctor knows, and the pharmacist knows, and the this knows, and the that knows. And I'm like, yeah, we've been trying to do that for a while. There's a few problems with that, kind of privacy security thing, other than that, yeah, we can do it.
Integrity.
Yeah.
So it doesn't foobar the records, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we've thought of that before. No. I mean, it'd be really easy if not only could your doctor, your pharmacist, but also your neighbor, the people down the street,
That's
any
what I was
random
thinking.
criminal. Yeah.
Let's just post it all on social media, and there you have it. Interoperability right there. I mean, people would do a pretty good job of doing that to themselves anyway, half the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the problem is when you're making those connect, I don't think people understand when I'm connecting any of my systems to someone else's systems and we're exchanging information. It's kind of like I spend all this time locking my front door, but then I leave the patio door open so my friends can come in.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't keep my friends from bringing their own friends. I'm not looking.
Yeah.
And then they bring a friend who steals stuff. That's essentially what the problem is.
Or another one, I actually saw this today. This has nothing to do with IT. It's physical security. So apparently the going trend for people who have garages is that they leave the door open or unlocked to their house because their garage door is locked. And
a lot of people do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what the criminals do is they basically drill a hole in the garage door and they feed like a hanger or something through it, and they grab that little chain that hangs down that releases the door, and they just pull it, and then they just slide the door up. They go in, they put the door down, and they lock it, and now they've got all day long to be in your house, or even if the door is locked, they've got all day long to try to get through that lock because now they're inside your garage.
And usually those are like a doorknob,
Right. Most people don't lock them.
Not a serious thing.
So yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Is you've got to have multiple layers of security for multiple things because
Same thing. So why are we talking about this, David?
Because it is a problem.
Yeah, there's a huge data breach going on that is a stack attack.
Yeah. It is.
Oh, we talk about security stack all the time, but we all have software stacks.
Mhm.
It's the software that you use to do your job is all stacked on top of each other to a certain level.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
this one we've got a couple different platforms here. So we have one called Drift, one called Sales Loft. I have to say that slowly because it looks like Sales Sloth when I look at it. Sorry. But they're common tools and they layered them on top of Salesforce. So most people are aware of Salesforce and a lot of companies use it. And these businesses, they trust these tools because they use them for their sales pipeline. And they bring these things in and they roll out these platforms and all that. But yeah, there's a lot of integration that's happening.
yeah. So SalesLoft is, let's see, I pulled it from their website. SalesLoft is the #1 sales engagement platform helping B2B sellers get to yes quicker. Change the game with the platform trusted by the world's best sales organizations.
Yes.
Yeah. Trusted. That's key. We'll come back to that in a minute. But, it like pulls in contact information from Salesforce and automates sending emails and makes calls and it does all that stuff. It's a salesperson assistant kind of tool.
Mhm.
So, it's good. It keeps you from screwing up and forgetting things because, we're a small company. We both know what it is to have to, you're working in your business, not on your business, that whole thing you always hear, but
Yeah.
sales is a key piece of what you got to do.
Yeah. And you pretty much have to have some type of sales tool to help with that. So it's not the tools that are bad. So we're not saying don't use any kind of sales tools.
Yeah, but that's what people like, okay, I'm going to get Salesforce, but now I either have to write these things within Salesforce or I get a tool like SalesLoft that works with Salesforce data. And so the way we use the term API, like everybody understands what that means.
They don't?
API, it's an ape's eye. Yuck. No, it's an automated program interface. Okay.
Mhm.
It's an autonomous way to log in, and it is logging in, though. That's the thing, is it is logging in. So that, a lot of times it's like that interoperability, people don't understand. There's a login happening somewhere to something. You have to authenticate. Otherwise, everybody could get to it.
Yep.
Everybody getting to it, bad. Authentication, good. But once you've authenticated, it better be you.
Yeah. And it's a cool way to get tools like, I don't know about you, but I use tools where I'm like, man, I wish this tool could do this thing over here and this tool could this thing over here. If they could just peanut butter and chocolate it together.
Two great taste.
And that's what an API does. So,
Yeah,
there you go. Now Reese's is an API.
that's it. It is my favorite candy. But when it comes to making those things work, it's not super high-end, complicated stuff to connect them, but it's also, a little bit more complicated than just, hey, go talk to this. You have to set up that authentication, and there's usually an exchange of secret codes that are really long if you think your passwords are long.
Yeah.
But these are behind the scenes, and sometimes you get one shot. You copy it, you paste it over here. Neither one of them show it to you. If it gets screwed up, you got to make a new one.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from it. But, you got to worry about the fact that now I've created this connection between the two of us, which is awesome. But I have to do a risk assessment.
Yeah. And it's probably worth kind of saying too, that if you are the person that does generate an API key for something, don't reuse the API key on other things. Kind of like a password, right? Like you want to have one API key for each thing.
Well, and there you go. Everything is, and used to didn't need to be this complicated, but it's had to get more advanced, more serious security than it ever did before, which is great because we all had to do that. So you got SalesLoft, who creates a behind the scenes special password so that it can talk to Salesforce. It can pull information, send information. They can read from each other, all that stuff, send emails. Awesome. But on the downside of that, I am opening it up on this back end. So, I mean, it does create, because it knows I can get to these contacts, the timelines, their emails, all kinds of information about companies people put in here. It's so-and-so's birthday on this day so that I remember next time I'm talking to them, oh, this is who they're married. People put that stuff in there all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the attackers are like, sweet. We've been talking about social engineering and all that stuff. So way high value on our end because we're actually making sales that we may have missed and we're more efficient at it and all of those things. So the value's high enough, but I got to secure it. And you do everything that you can. And then you have to count on the vendors and their vendors to take care of it. And that's where we get to boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be a problem because, you can trust, I'm not saying you can, but you want to trust your primary vendor because you're not sure about the other ones. Like sometimes you don't even know who the other ones are.
A lot of people found out that they were using Change Healthcare last year and they didn't know they were.
Yeah.
A lot of people find that out because a vendor of their vendor was using, you don't know. And so this one, it was kind of like that. Really, the SalesLoft, it felt like that because Drift was where everything happened, which is another tool that SalesLoft had just bought in 2024. So they bought them like early 2024. So it was still kind of like its own gig. It was an add-on. And guess what cool thing it did, David?
It had a chat bot.
Then you're getting AI and all kinds of cool things in, and that's what everybody wants to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. And it does a lot of cool things. So you add it to SalesLoft, which is already doing a lot of cool things, and now you're going to be able to do this bot, which is going to talk to everything, including Salesforce. And by the way, Drift talks to a whole bunch of other things. But most of SalesLoft is Salesforce. So I'm not quite sure how much we're going to learn about this when we get into the details. How many other places? So if Drift is involved anywhere, you need to be looking into this, is all I'm saying. So here's what we know. So, and right away, this is the worst part, is it goes back to March of 2025. So this is the bad thing, is a threat actor, what we're supposed to call them. Bad guys. Got access to the SalesLoft developers' private GitHub repository.
That's not good.
So I know we talk about GitHub all the time, but have we explained it, what it is?
I think we briefly did.
Yeah, so it's basically where you put programs.
Yeah, it's you dump your code in there.
You store all the stuff that makes things work. Developers use it, and they have a repository of stuff that then gets put in, and it includes a thing called OAuth integration code. Now, OAuth is one of those, that's what that back end authorization is. I don't know what the O stands for, do you?
Operator. I don't know.
We're going to go with that. Oh, it's authorized. That's it. Oh, I'm authorized. I don't know. But
open, maybe open.
Oh,
that tends to be.
That's probably it. Open authorization. OAuth is the method that is used to connect the two behind the scenes and share these little tokens that say, hey, this is me. I'm allowed in. Please let me in. And I give back and say, okay, here's the spare key. You can come on in. So problem is, once they got into that, they had the key to the GitHub by breaking into the GitHub. The GitHub then gave them not only the key, but gave them like all the code, which is like, here's my house and here's where all the good stuff's stored.
Yeah. Here's where the good liquor is.
Yeah, people that know me, they're like, where's the good stuff, Donna? This is it right here. I just shared it with you. But so at that point, though, they got a ton of information. So that was in March. And then from that time through the summer, this attacker created a tool, and according to some of the investigation, the tool is called Precision.
Wow. So they built their own tool.
With AI, of course.
Of course, because you got to sprinkle that stuff in everywhere.
I know, right?
It's like this cartoon I saw the other day. It was like a bunch of CEOs in a room. They're all like, we want AI. And the guy's like, great. What do you want it to do? And they're like, I don't know.
I just know we want to say we got it.
Yeah. But all right, when do you want it? Right now.
AI, yeah, I don't know what it does, but I know we need to do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this Precision would take all the information that it got out of the GitHub repo and use that along with valid OAuth tokens that it was able to get because it was in there from the Drift Sales Loft information. And then it would use AI to prioritize and extract valuable data. Very much just like a normal interaction between the two applications. So it didn't even raise any, it was normal behavior.
Wow.
So everybody's like, oh, we'll look for behavioral things. It was behaving just like it should.
Normally.
Yeah. It was quiet. It knew its way around. It was just stealing things. So that's bad. And so from May to July is when now we start to hear about something starts happening. Because Google and Cloudflare start looking for something. Because the stolen auths are used to access Salesforce of real customers, and they're stealing data. So, no, it's not passwords or sensitive stuff. No, but it's the contact stuff. Who have you talked to? All the things about how sales work and what you're selling things for and what the contracts say. Social engineering information out the wazoo.
Yeah, really.
So that was from Cloudflare. And Cloudflare is, how do you define what Cloudflare? Cloudflare is like a concentrator for web stuff. No, and it the traffic runs through Cloudflare, and it helps thin out the bad traffic.
Yeah, it's a content delivery network.
Yeah, boy, another CDN. We're on the nerd train. So it's all working, and they're seeing it happen. Google's seeing it happen. Cloudflare's seeing it happen. And they start to think maybe there's something suspicious happening here. Cloudflare picked it up. They traced it and realized it was Salesforce and Drift. And then other companies started looking into it because Cloudflare said, y'all better look at this. See if it's happening.
It must be from Georgia.
And then other people started looking, and so that was just in August, and we're in early September, and TechCrunch breaks the story, tells everybody there was announcements that this was happening along the way, but the attacker accessed customer data through Drift integrations, and they have confirmed it. And they're like, but the good news is it's not the bad stuff. So, but they have supposedly reconnected it. They made all of the tokens be bad and, killed all the tokens, reconnected everything, all that kind of stuff. While it's contained, we don't know how far it went because look how long it was going on.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So, Salesforce itself seems fine. They didn't get to Salesforce. They just got to the data that people that used SalesLoft with Drift or Drift may have been getting to other ones because so far the only ones we know about are the Salesforce ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it connects to HubSpot. It connects to a bunch of others. So we may be seeing some other stuff go on. I don't know. It remains to be seen because as of right now, which we're still early on, I was watching SalesLoft plus Drift, another one. And then I was like, what? Qualys? Cloudflare is one thing. Then Cloudflare has a lot of different traffic going on. So it was kind of like, okay, maybe there's something happening there. But then it was all these names that are in cybersecurity. Tenable, Rubrik, Proton, and Qualys is a huge one. My guess is there's going to be a lot of them.
Oof, that's not good.
Well, here's a thought. Again, we think of things as we're going, so we have no idea whether it's true or not. But I wonder if it's when it came out, the ones who were the cybersecurity companies were the ones that found it first with themselves because they were able to immediately deal with it. And now they're looking for it everywhere else. So that'll be timing to go look into it. What do you think?
Yeah, I would. If it was me and I was one of the companies got affected, I'd be looking for other people. So I'd be like, look, it ain't just me. I'm yesterday's news.
Yeah, just look at them. Don't look at me. But the big concerning part is just how far this could go. And again, we've talked about how much they're able to do in all this social engineering stuff. Well, now I'm going to take all this stuff that's primed for social engineering and I'm going to pump that into an AI tool that'll help me craft the exact emails, the phone calls, the voice messages, whatever needs to be done to get one side or the other of any transaction. And now I'm going to know things down to the day something happened, the notes somebody made about it, and what if somebody was putting nasty notes in there? That's a good one. It's funny. There's going to be some blackmail up in there.
Yeah.
Because people did it. You know how people are.
Don't call this idiot. Yeah, probably.
Well, I've seen it before. I've had projects where I'm, processing data and I see these notes about this person's a complete idiot and blah, blah, blah. And let me tell you what happened and blah, blah, blah. And, and they're documenting everything that happened so that if it comes back on them, they can say, this is exactly what happened. They're getting arguments or whatnot. So Lord knows what all's in there. Oh my word.
Yeah. That's like, one of the things I had to tell my team years ago is, we have these funny acronyms in IT, like PEBCAC and ID10T. Mm-hmm. And so one of the technicians put ID10T error in the ticket as the resolution. And I was like, no, we do not do that. I understand that's IT humor, but we do not put that into tickets.
We are not documenting things of that. That is not business documentation.
No, it is not.
But yeah, I understand it was a shortcut way to do it. You know. But other people would be like, no, because you can say ID10T, but written down is where people get it.
Yeah.
And that one more so than any of the others. But for the sheer volume of data and how much the potential, just the potential. And we just talked about one where AI operated the whole thing. It was automated.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, just my head hurts. I'm having breach by association. Just
you're having a headache by association.
I know. I mean, I just can't even. And these are huge companies, and the amount of information in there. I mean, and we may not know all of the ones that are hit, which only makes it worse.
Yeah. Well, this just goes to show, because I mean, there's different ways you can look at it. Some people are going to look at this and go, well, if they can't protect themselves, why am I even worried about trying to protect myself? It's just, which I think is ridiculous. But the other thing to know is you're going to use tools. You're going to use online tools, unless, you know, you're completely disconnected, which you're not listening to this podcast if you are. So,
but I don't know. Some people listen and then panic and disconnect, I think.
That's true. But you're going to use all these tools, whatever it is. There's tons and tons of different applications. You're going to use them. Just be aware of what's in them, what information people are collecting about you or your company or whatever, and understand that stuff can be used against you. I mean, just this weekend, I had my dad call me. I got a text message from my bank, and we use a small local bank, and it says that I have a $6,400 charge and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nope.
Nada.
Nope. But somehow, somewhere, they have his information and they know that he does business with that small bank.
Or they guessed it just because it's a small bank and you're in a small area. Sometimes it's just that.
That's potentially it.
You never know.
It is. But I will say the bank itself, when you log into their online portal, it says, we are aware of, fraudulent activity, against our members. So I'm like, okay, well, somebody got a list somewhere.
That is true. Yeah. So, I mean, you don't know where that's going to come from. You don't. Not anymore. But how many people have they, scammed?
Yeah. Who knows? And fortunately, my dad's one of these people that he's not going to give you any information. He don't care. He's always been that way. I had to pay for my own college because he's like, these people don't need to know what my income is on this college, application. I'm trying to get financial aid. Yeah, it's like, I'm not giving them. They don't need to know that information. I'm like, well, yeah, they do. I can't get financial aid without it. He's like, well, good luck, son.
I'm out of this.
So he's not likely to give anybody any information. But
way back.
Yeah. He's one of these, yeah. But he will, at some point, he'll do something. It won't be because somebody asked for information. It'll be something he ends up clicking on because, and they'll get it. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, there's probably a lot of people that's falling for it.
Yeah. And, and this one, no one fell for anything. Right? And it's huge. Which, really kind of brings it back to all of the points that we really should be making sure everybody gets from this scenario is, the data came from Salesforce, but Salesforce didn't do anything. And SalesLoft had a developer that had the code and GitHub, and it was using Drift, which SalesLoft bought. So what a tangled web How many steps removed are they? Like 3, 4? You got to go all the way down to GitHub of where the attack happened.
Yeah.
The main area that it came into, I guess. So that's why we say it's in the stack, the supply chain. It goes deep. Deep, deep, deep.
Yeah. And all this came through legitimate, trusted, fully authorized connections.
Yeah. Except for the first one, the GitHub one.
Yeah.
Because that goes back to how important it is. If you're a developer, you're a huge piece of the attack service now. Attack surface. I'm having trouble. But I mean, and even targets. And so anything, if you've got GitHub accounts, y'all need to have these things like tight.
Well, just think about all the people that create these platforms or sign up for platforms, and you dump information there, and then you decide, well, I don't want this platform anymore. I'm going to move this other one, and then you just leave that data sitting there.
It's treating that data like it's not valuable, and it is.
I mean, you think about people who move from, I'm using Gmail today, and I want to move to Microsoft, and I'm just going to leave my Gmail stuff sitting there or whatever.
Well, they're going to delete it, but GitHub.
Yeah. Unless they're moving from the free Gmail accounts to a paid Microsoft account or something. But, my point is people often dump their data in places, and then once they move over to another new shiny tool, they just leave it.
Yeah. And that is a big piece of the problem. And I it's one of the things, we go back to business associates. When you terminate your deal with the business associate, you should pull your contracts and document what happened in the termination. Can they give me a letter saying they deleted all my information? Yes or no? And if no, then you send a confirmation just reminding you, until you can tell me this, you're responsible for the CIA of all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think a lot they don't.
There's still long-tail vendor expectations and trust that goes into that. Like if my client says, I need you to delete the data and give me a certificate of destruction, I have to then contact the backup vendor and say, I need you to delete the data and give me a certificate of destruction. And then who knows who they have to contact, if anybody, because most of the time I'm dealing with a backup vendor who's then dealing with probably AWS or somebody else.
Something.
So,
yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, that's the problem.
So all of that stuff, and this would be part of it. And, even the same thing with Salesforce, people swap tools and put stuff and test things. But keeping in mind that if you put the data in there, it has to be secured until you take it out. Period. And stop thinking it doesn't matter. There's too many ways to use it now. Whether you're using it for whole social engineering thing all the way up to breaking into other accounts. It could be
because I could see somebody arguing like, this is not health data, this is not financial data. It's nothing important. It's something that you can get this information from anywhere, as somebody might say.
You should open up your imagination. Because it's tying a lot of it together that would not have been with some additional glue. And that's what turns it into social engineering, more of that. But thinking about how far down the stack this goes. So you have to worry about not just your vendors, but the vendors of your vendors' vendors.
Okay, yeah, I'm disconnecting from the internet.
So this one went from GitHub through SalesLoft, through Drift, to Salesforce, to you.
Yep.
And it's like, whoa. But here's the big kicker. Is SalesLoft, people have attacks. And it's like you saying, oh, well, if it's hitting them, why am I even trying? Well, we know these attacks happen. Granted. But the fact that they got in through a poor GitHub security thing, they didn't detect the breach. Cloudflare did. And it then took months before anyone knew what was happening. That is going to destroy their reputation because it gets back to, I've got to trust that the vendor is going to do their part.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those were part of their part. Have solid security, notice when something goes on, and let somebody know. So that's where they're going to get hit the hardest, is reputational damage.
Yeah. And if you've got something as important as a GitHub repository, I mean, I don't use GitHub, so I'm not sure, but I would think there would be some way that you could look at, are there logins happening from other areas, or, there's got to be some way to look at the access to make sure you're keeping that under control.
Well, and it had to be fairly, the OAuth tokens were very active and helpful. So, and it was I think it's a private repository, so it wasn't even the company's, but it was the developer putting the company stuff. So it's the same as anything else. That needs to be treated just like valuable data because it is.
Yeah.
So, yes, there's got to be ways.
Well, if it was a personal GitHub, then that brings up a whole nother problem that we talk about often, which is people using personal accounts to do business work.
Yes. And that goes for everybody. Mm-hmm. So all of us, we have so many openings in our day-to-day work to connect to other things. But if you take away those connections, now suddenly I'm not efficient. I am not able to get to information that I need to do my work. So it gets back to the yin and the yang. When I need these things because without them, if I secure them properly, I should be able to trust the vendors to do their part. And look how far down the chain people were doing their part till somebody stepped in it. Or
love the sound effects.
Yeah, I think we ought to be done on that.
Yeah, we'll end on the sound effects of Donna stepping in crap. All right, folks, that's our show for today. Thanks for following us, and be sure to share this episode out. Tell them to wait till the end. For Donna and myself, remember that HIPAA's not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.